looking at the fundamentals, right? Europe has been underperforming. Their holding rates, the economy is doing well. Inflation is actually quite around that 2% target, which they could decide to either cut more or not even cut at all, right? But America, we still have these guys have sticky inflation, high yields and all that, and still they are unable to find their way. So for the week ahead, I think we're going to be maintaining this uptrend, right? So looking at sentiment, this is actually a trade which I took on the euro dollar. It's actually a swing trade. I'm going to be coming back to this later. Looking at the euro dollar and considering we've just looked at fundamentals and also with the new Trump tariffs on Switzerland on imports and exports and gold or whatsoever, I mean, it actually affected the dollar. So looking at sentiment, retail traders, from a personal or from experience, right, from back when I used to trade without conviction, most retail traders actually look to short this market. Therefore, you can definitely somewhere around here they'll be looking to short this trade. I mean, they've literally started shorting the trade already. If you look at the weekly report for the CFTC, right, the retail traders have actually started shorting. But the non-commercials, which are the smart money, the hedge funds, what they call, they're actually still maintaining the trend, which will have the trend follow, are still maintaining the trend, right? But the retailers have started fighting because we usually do this fighting against the trend, right? I'm equally a retailer like you listening to this or any other retail trader out there. But what separates the sheep from the goat is when you finally get that eye opener and you actually um, decide to leave the retail trader circle and how they behave, right? So market participants will tend to look at behaviors, emotions, etc., etc. They look at a lot of things and even strategy as well. So I think the retailers will definitely continue to fight the trend, and the trend is going to prevail. Though, don't get me, don't. I'm not saying we're not going to see this thing turn around quite soon, but I don't really think we're going to be turning around somewhere here. Maybe up here, maybe somewhere around above a bit above the 1.20 €1 for $20 mark. Probably we could see that. So if the euro gets to 120, we could see that. Now, so looking at the technicals, right? Remember I said sentiment, retail traders have become bearish, looking to fight against the trend. Trend followers, which are the smart money, are actually still following their trend. So here we have a nice, this is actually on a daily time frame. This was a demand zone, but I didn't really want to trade it because I love the nice leg out here, but I don't really think we're going to see price fall all the way through. It could happen, right? It could, but low probability for me. And then we got this nice legging base and a leg out, and also have this kind of like I have a level on top of level here. How do I trade this? Do I go with both zones and put my stop loss here, entry here, or should I just trade 0.5% here and 0.5% here? So I think I prefer putting on 0.5% here and 0.5% here since I already have a swing trade running on the euro and I've actually moved my stop loss below this low. My stop loss is somewhere around here on the swing trade, right? So locked in some profits. Now, if we see the euro, I'm actually expecting this trend to continue. So any pullbacks really into, sorry guys. So any pullbacks really into this zone or a deeper pullback into this zone, I'm going long. Not really swinging the trade, but my take profit is going to be somewhere around 1 to 4. If I'm trading here and my stop loss is below this low, or maybe I could add the 0.33% for safety, right? Okay, so if my stop loss is there and my take profit is here, I'll be shooting for 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. 1 to 3. That's nice. Superb. I love that. So if I'm going to be going with this zone, so placing 0.5% here, 0.5% here, and if prices take me out here, and I have a 0.5% here, how much am I gonna be? How many percent do I have from this high to the zone here? What's my profit margin? Let's see. You can choose to not add the 33% rule, but I definitely love to use that for safety, especially when I'm trading off the lower time frame zone. So here it's with this stop loss rule, we still have a nice 1 to 5.25% risk to reward ratio. So 1 to 5 actually. So let's look at the Aussie, Euro AUD. So on the Euro Aussie, Euro AUD, yeah, I'd already placed my set here. I'm actually looking for to buy this currency pair. Yeah. If you go down to the 1 hour time frame, you could find a demand zone here, but actually on the 4 hour, we have a nice demand here. Demand, you can call this demand as well, but you could actually place your entries at the bodies of the candle or at the wick of this red candle, but I just go with the flow from this high to my stop loss. So I further refine this zone into a 1 hour zone. Let me show you guys. Further refine the zone into an hourly zone. So the hourly, I like what I see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Accept. Not really nice, but acceptable. So I place my entry at the highest wick of the base, and I have a nice leg out and a follow through. So I love this. I like the look of this zone. Would I look to trade it here? Probably, but I really prefer this one. This one looks quite explosive if you ask me. If you go to the 2 hour chart, definitely. We're still seeing the same thing, right? Very nice, very nice. So I think the Euro Aussie, I'm set up for a buy actually, and I'm aiming for the previous high. On the lower time frame, this might look cheeky and tricky, but if you move up to the daily time frame and the weekly, you actually have a nice profit margin from here to here. It's 1 to 5 risk to reward ratio, and if you choose to hold all the way up to the highs here, yeah, you could actually see. But I definitely go with this one. This is nice, something realistic, right? I could further trim my profit margin to 1 to 5. 1 to 5 is awesome. I don't mind. I don't need to chase for the high, absolute high. 1 to 5 or 1 to 4 is very nice and acceptable for me. So looking at the um euro pound, the euro pound, the euro pound. Where's the euro? Is the euro pound? No. Where's euro GBP? Did I delete this bit? Looks like I deleted the euro pound. Let me quickly add it up. The euro pound. Where's the euro pound? All right, so here we have the euro pound. I wonder how much we're going to write that off. I took that off mistakenly. So the euro across the board has been strengthening, except against the Swiss franc. So looking at the euro pound, I had a nice supply area here, but this actually worked. But I'm not really looking to short the euro. I'm looking to buy the euro against the pound, right? Because obviously we know the pound is really not at its best shape at the moment, right? So looking at the euro pound here, I've actually picked out some nice demand zones. I've got one here, got one here. So if you're looking for, if you don't want to really enter on the weekly time frame and you're looking to further refine the zone to get better risk to reward or profit margin, you can maybe go look at something like the daily chart, the 4 hour chart, or the 2 hour chart. If that will do for you. And then other pair, what other pair? I had some nice analysis on the dollar card here, but it really kind of like fell short. Although we came back to this demand zone here and then it still reacted, but I really didn't love the idea of trading from this daily supply zone, sorry, because we had already tested it here and it wasn't really high probability trade from here. Although if you go down to the 4 hour, you should be able to find something there. Yeah, there you go. So on the 4 hour chart, we have some nice supply. We can drop this drop here, supply, prices reacted, value base drop, and then we never really touched this basing candle here, and prices reacted on lower time frame like the 4 hour. And if you go down to the maybe the 2 hour, the 1 hour chart, you could definitely find something here. And prices actually reacted off of this. But for me, I didn't really trade the or the dollar card. I actually looked at something like the the dollar Swiss. So the dollar Swiss here, it's kind of like we hit this supply zone, it dropped, didn't really give me the 1 to 3 risk to reward, but kind of like moving sideways. So I think maybe there should be a further drop, even if it's just one big red candle. That would be very nice, very nice. Looking at the USD JPY. USD JPY has been more like a sideways market, not really a clear trend, except for now that we're seeing higher highs being formed and lower highs being formed. Sorry. If you ask me, this looks nice. I'm looking at the yields and all that, so the dollar looks very nice for buy, but I definitely look to stay away from any dollar-based currencies. If it's dollar code currency like the euro, tag me, but dollar-based currencies, not me. So looking at the Mexican peso against the dollar, yeah, I'm actually looking for a retracement back into this demand zone. And if the fundamentals change for the dollar, this should be very nice buy for the dollar against the Mexican peso. Dollar South African rand, no, not a pair I'm interested in. I actually had a supply zone here on silver, which if you go to the futures chart, this entry was quite big. Even if I think silver still has the ability to turn around, but no, for me, I think this zone up here should be the best zone. But I actually chose this one because it was actually a flip zone, fresh, etc. It met all my checklists, right? But still, that's trading for you. So this really didn't work out. We hit stop loss on this one. Our zone has been completely violated. So I actually eyeballed the zone above here, the zone we have above price. For gold actually made a new high in the futures chart, and on the CFD chart here, gold is still meandering and hasn't really made any significant high. Although initially I marked out the lower time frame supply zone here and the lower time frame supply zone here on the 4 hour, but seeing what has really happened with the futures chart, damn, I think this thing would definitely create a new high. So I'm not interested in gold right now as it's not really a clear trade for me. But if for anything, I'm actually setting up for a buy at the $3,000 dollar mark. If gold hits 3K, I'm buy. And if we definitely could see a new high form on gold and maybe a drop down towards this level. 3K should be very nice for buying gold. Stocks, as always, they've been very bullish, but I still think there should be a retracement. This thing is rather stretched to the upside. Though we had a nice retracement here into a nice level of demand here, but I really didn't take this trade. I really didn't. I wanted to see further downside, but somewhere around here or here. This was actually the best zone I was looking at for this zone, but prices didn't. didn't come back at all. So looking at the Swiss franc against the yen, so this thing has been very, very bullish, and retailers has been dogpiling on the Swiss. So stepping down to a lower time frame, here we'll have a nice supply zone here, worked out well, came back to supply, dropped again, retraced back into supply zone here that was created from this supply, and then we traded down here. So here we have supply zone around here. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we have supply zone here, please drop. I have a drop, please drop here, which is another supply again. So uh, I've actually placed my set for this level, stop, entry, target. So if you're targeting here, you should be making somewhere around 3 point something hours. I'm actually looking for a 4-hour trade, which is a 1 to 4 is to reward ratio. Now, but I think we're gonna see maybe further downside for the Swiss, because even the Bank of Switzerland thinks their currency is very expensive. Looking at Bitcoin. So we actually did well on Bitcoin um last week, last 2 weeks actually. This was a very nice, this thing almost came to hit our stop loss. It actually came to hit my stop loss, but it rolled over and gave us a nice 1 to 4 risk to reward. Also looking for that 1 to 4, yeah. Gave the nice 1 to 4 risk to reward ratio win for Bitcoin. Now I think we have another supply zone here. I'm actually looking to short Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think these things are going to kind of blow up top. But I think the best catalyst for Bitcoin futures or Bitcoin in general is looking at the retail behavior. Um, and then maybe really interest rates, because this thing now these days, since the ETS and all that, it started behaving like the stock market. So yeah, so that's it, guys. Euro pound, setting up for buys on a higher time frame. I'm not really looking at this, and if it happens that we go from here, fine. I'm looking at the euro dollar, yeah, and then looking at the what else? Basically, we have silver right on the list on daily time frame, specific straight, different pairs, different time frames. I'll definitely go with this on a higher time frame daily. This looks messed up for me. On a higher time frame, it looks very clear, like the daily time frame. Swiss franc yen, looking for a sell here, possibly a sell here at this level of supply. But I'm more interested in seeing what happens with the euro dollar as retail has started fighting the trend, and I think the trend is still going to continue to the upside. So if you're taking this zone here, nice 1 to 3 risk to reward. If you're taking this one, you should be making not less than a 1 to 5 risk to reward ratio. So yeah, I think that should be all for now, guys. Blessings. Let's see how it goes. Wish you all a nice weekend and a very wonderful week ahead.